Hello, this is Serrano from the Texas Justice Review. And so I had another hearing today concerning my house and my property and my money. So this was before Judge Gina Slaughter. And she's kind of kept my case for about a year. She's been sitting on it. And I've been trying to get some movement from her, but it's been slow. But I'm not the only one. I looked at some complaints, and it seems like she has a history of delaying the cases, sitting on it for a while, and then when she does get to the case, she gets very technical. She goes into like all this technical stuff. So my case today to her was very simple. It was, you have a lawsuit before you that involves my property. And I even told her if it goes to a jury and the jury would ask the question, if Mr. Ballier wanted us to rule on the property, why did he not fight hard to keep the property in her court? And that's basically what I told her. And Gina Davis went into details about, first I don't know, sign sworn oath or something. And I was like, you don't need that here. And then she got into that another judge made a decision on this case concerning the property, and she does not want to cross or conflict with the other judge. And then her third point was that, what's the third point? Anyway, it was just mute. It was just no point that exists. She attacked one of my I did a case point of authority, and she attacked it, saying that was not what this meant. And then, I spoke and I tried to tell her what this case is about. Listen, it's my ex. She embezzled $1.2 million and hid it so she won't have to give it, and we'd share it, and I'd get the property. She did it intentionally so she can target the property to basically maliciously and vindictively go after me because she went off to look for a man, and I stayed behind, and I ended up still looking nice and well dressed, and she did not. She became unattractive, and the glowing, diamond eyes, blonde, golden skin is no longer there where it was younger. And that's not my business. I didn't tell you to leave. God didn't tell you to leave. So anyway, she let her speak, and she was attacking me that she had to work 3 jobs, and I was lazy, and I was that guy. I'm like, oh my gosh, wait a second. You make 6-figure salary. Every Wednesday night she said she was cat sitting when she was actually dating. And so that's what that was about. When she wanted to date the guy, she would say she was cat sitting. But yet you come home and you spend $55 in salt grass every night. So if you're making $40 cat sitting and you're spending $55 every night on salt grass, and you make a 6-figure salary, that doesn't add up. But I couldn't say all of that. But anyway, Gina Slaughter was not. You can see that she was about to dismiss this case even before. I keep saying I have a sense. I have a sense of watching these judges. I kind of know before I sit down, because some of them get very slick. They'll listen to you and they go, okay. And when you're done speaking, they go, well, I have a couple of issues. Of course you do. Of course you've got issues, right? You wouldn't just rule that the house is in your jurisdiction, the house is in your court case, the house is under what you're ruling on, and for you to simply say, hey, you know what? This house is part of this lawsuit. And I'm not going to let it go out there and be destroyed and sold and everything else. And when this lawsuit moves forward, I don't have a responsibility for the home. That's what Stacey Williams did. The one that bailed on me. She took control of the house, and she said it's part of this lawsuit. And after a while, when they beat her up and they started politically pressuring her, she eventually gave up and fell on her sword rather than, the good thing is she didn't end the case. She could have dismissed it. She could have sent it to family court. Of course, she would have been in trouble because I would have appealed her in a second. Judge Stacey Williams in the 101 district court. And so the hearing today was supposed to be very simple. I want a temporary order that you put the house not to go on sale until we can adjudicate whether or not you have authority over the house. So one of the other things she said is that last Friday we talked about Judge Nicole Munzo. Nicole Munzo is an associate judge. I do not like associate judge. I just do not like them. If you're not an elected judge in Dallas, I do not trust you. And even when you're elected, I gotta watch you. So Judge Emily Tolboski, I think it's the 95th court. So Emily Tolboski got Judge Stacey Williams' case. So I wanted a temporary order Friday. And they sent it to she was busy, and they sent it to this associate judge by the name of Nicole Mundoz. And so Nicole Mundoz, she made me speak for a few minutes, and then she let the lawyer talk. The lawyer said, he's got all these cases, and all these judges dismissed his case, and even Judge Stacey dismissed his case. He's a vexatious person. And I was like, and he sued me after the vexatious claim against him. I was like, and I stood up, and she goes, sit down. No, Miss Mundoz. No, I'm the wrong person to speak to like that, because this is going to happen. So this rude judge, and God forbid I have to go back in front of her, and I have to be respectful. I do not get disrespectful in court. They tell me to shut up, I shut up. But this happens. So Judge Mundoz just denied the case, denied my TRO. And I said, what? So here's the three elements that she was partnering with this lawyer with. Number one, when this lawyer took my ex's case, she started causing a lot of problems in family court. She caused problems with two judges, Judge Bernard and Judge Kim Brown. Judge Kim Brown then recused herself because they lied to her, and they all kind of Facebook pages. So I did a recusal, and I said, this is wrong. This is what they're doing. This is the bad application for a marriage, and they're just being malicious. So they took their divorce to another judge, and she denied it. They took their divorce to another judge. She recused herself. All the judges they took my ex's divorce to did not want her divorce. But they're trying to say, oh, I'm the one that caused the problems. No, the judges are looking at your divorce. And so they flipped that. And then they said, Judge Stacey Williams, they went after Judge Stacey Williams. They bullied that judge. They went after her. The mistake she made is she should have signed my TRO and then jumped off. But the good thing is she didn't dismiss the case. So they used her to say, oh, even Judge Stacey Williams recused herself. Yeah, because what you did. You bullied her. She was on my side. You bullied her. She was on the side of the truth. And then the other thing was, something else that I sued her after the a vexatious claim. Do you know how many people in the vexatious claim? My ex and her. That's it. My ex and her attorney are the only two people in a vexatious claim that I can't sue anybody because of the two of them, which is illegal. But the judge, Michael Snipes, is a criminal assignment judge. When all the family judge gave up, they gave it to this guy, and he's been vicious against me. I think it's because I'm a man. I think it's because of my race. This guy is boasting of how he was in the army and all this kind of stuff. I don't need to hear that. And the fact that you're saying that just made you prejudiced. I will have you arrested if you tell the jury anything. So I had to go through all of that. So coming back to Slaughter said that so my ex told her that Judge Mundoz denied my motion. And I didn't check the website to see if she signed off. The only way that a motion stands against you or denial stands against you is when the judge signs it. So I didn't know at the time. So she goes, this judge dismissed his motion. He has denied his application to take the house and to seize the house. So Judge Slaughter didn't check. She did her homework to find every reason to deny me, but she didn't check to see if Judge Mundoz actually did sign an order to deny me the TRO, temporary restraining order. And guess what? She didn't. At least it was, my motion was on Friday hearing, and today is Monday night. So I know the clerks are not that slow, because I'm waiting for these denials. You got to wait for them to drop. And when they drop, you grab them and you take them to the appeals court. You want to escalate your case. You don't want to have it sit here. So I'm waiting for Mundoz to do hers so I can take it to the appellate court. I'm waiting for Slaughter She hadn't signed it yet to take it to the appeals court. So anyway, so her argument was this: because this judge denied you your temporary order to seize the house, I can't go against her. Now this is key. I can't go against her because she already denied your application on the house. Here's the problem. A judge can only have a conflict with another judge on a final judgment. Not an order, not a TRO, which is temporary. It's a temporary restraining order. There is no conflict with a temporary restraining order. There's a conflict with a final judgment if they want to do it. Or they can simply say, well, you know what? Judge Williams used to say that that's their court. This is my court. In my court, this is my case. And if the house is affecting my case, I am going to put a stay on the house. And that's what she basically did. So a judge can simply make an excuse that, another judge made a ruling. She can, and it's still not a final judgment. She can say, look, this is my case and this is my courtroom. And if a house is involved in all this fraud and manipulation, I'm going to put a stay on that house and it's going to stay in my courtroom. That's a simple ask for Judge Gina Slaughter. But she decided she was going to get into this technical stuff and your case law. And, you didn't do a sworn oath. I thought I did, or something else. And I was like, I listened to her and I was like, all this is nonsense. All of it is nonsense. It's a simple application, temporary restraining order, but it's selling a house until the jury, your jury, can hear whether or not it should be given to me or her. And if there was fraud. So she skipped over all that and started digging into this and digging into that and everything else. And she was regurgitating the earth to try to throw this dirt in my face. And I said, okay, so here's the kicker. And you're going to love this one. So just remember, she made a comment. She made her ruling on the fact that another judge said that she is denying temporary hold in the house, sale of the house on your personal property. Okay? That's her ruling. Another judge made a decision. So when my ex filed her alleged answer to my complaint in December last year, she took a 2-page letter from her attorney, the same one that's in Nicole Mondo's courtroom, because I have 2 cases, the attorney and my ex. The attorney filed a 2-page letter with Judge Maria Aceves. And Judge Maria Aceves denied the letter, saying this is not a response. Denied it again, this is not a response. Denied it again, this is not a response. So that attorney, and that case has been held. In these 2 new lawsuits, they filed the same letter that Judge Aceves, Maria Aceves, says this is not an answer. So if Judge Slaughter, and by the way, the attorney wrote the same letter to my ex to give it to Judge Gina Slaughter. You can't ghostwrite an answer for your former client or your current client to give it to this judge and act like you're not the attorney of records. So as soon as the hearing was finished today and she said, I'm denying your motion, I said, okay. So I did a default judgment. And in the default judgment, I said this court ruled that if another judge makes a decision, it cannot conflict with that judge's decision. So Judge Maria Aceves ruled that these 2-page letters are void and are not acceptable to her court at least. And so my default judgment holds Judge Slaughter under her same words. So if Judge Maria Aceves says this 2-page letter is not acceptable in the court, as if nothing has been filed as an answer, then Judge Slaughter has to respect that with the same 2-page letter in her courtroom in the default judgment. You can't say, I'm respecting this judge, and then say, I'm disrespecting this judge. If this judge says the 2-page letter was a sham, and it was inappropriate and unlawfully filed for an answer, then you have to accept the 2-page letter that my ex filed in your courtroom. And so I did that default judgment today. So you can't have it both ways. This is what judges do. They think if they manipulate you and they do their own thing and you're proceed and they kick you out, you'll go home. I go home and I study. I go home and I find out what went wrong with a simple motion to say that house is in this lawsuit and that house has stayed. That's all she had to do. Judge Gina Slaughter, yes, she's running for re-election. And so I did a default motion on her, and I'm going to see how she rules against it, because she's going to be in a lot of trouble if she says, I can't interrupt Judge Nicole Monzo, who's not even the lead judge in the case. Judge Emily Talbowski is. She's the presiding judge. But Judge Nicole, all she did, she had one job. Signed a TRO respecting Judge Williams' order. That's it, because Judge Williams had ruled against them taking the property. She was asked, want you to do the same thing, to execute her order. And she was all over the place with us, with Victoria Warner, my ex's attorney, and how are you doing? And you should file a motion to dismiss this case. And they treated me like I was a second-class citizen, like I was a nobody. And when I got up, sit down. Sometimes you're quiet in court. You don't really say anything. It's when you get out. It's when your power comes up. So I took that insult in her courtroom, and I'm waiting for her to do her denial or sign it. She hasn't signed it. I can't appeal what they don't sign. But my ex said that I was rejected, and if Gina Slaughter had checked the record, she would have seen, I don't see any order here that Mr. Bally was rejected by by Nicole Monzo. So I can't say that I can't go up against another order. So you see the other double standard here? If there is no order signed by Nicole Monzo, why did Judge Slaughter say I can't go up against another judge? What if Nicole Monzo was just looking over some new records and some new evidence, and she didn't want to sign it because she found new evidence or a different case law? So Judge Slaughter should have checked to see if Judge Mundo's, and she's investigating. She's got all kind of things she checked, and I checked this, and I checked this, and I read your complaint, and I went over it. And why don't you go over what my ex told you, that Judge Mundo signed a complaint, signed an order to reject my taking the house. So today's hearing, again, benefited my ex, who is lying, deceiving, and manipulating instead of just giving me my money. Give me my money. It's $650,000. You get more than that. You get like $800. And to avoid all of that, she's running around, lying her mouth off to all the judges, all kind of personal attacks on me. And I'm like, I marry that? I don't personally attack her. If she have to speak, I said, if you hear any language about me having dismissed from 7 courts, that's actually her. But to call her names and all that kind of nonsense that she's calling me, he's a chronic liar and this and that. I'm like, okay, wow. That's why I give up my life to come here after you, right? But I'm not going to engage in that, neither here nor there. But this is what's happening. So this motion today was denied. She hadn't signed it. The minute she dropped it, I'm going to grab it. But she still has to lose on a default judgment. And she's going to be, it is going to be interesting. Because saying what you're expecting one judge, respecting this judge, but then you're not respecting this judge on a default judgment. That letter, that answer that my ex gave in December of 2024 is not valid. She had a year to file any motion that she wants to dismiss. She could have filed a motion to say, failure to prosecute. He's been a year and he hasn't done anything, failure to prosecute. But she didn't. So now it's too late. So we're going to wait to see what happens to this default judgment with Gina Slaughter. This is the Dallas court system. People call each other here. Judges call each other and they look out for each other. Judge Michael Snipes has a history. He's the guy that's wreaking havoc on my life with all his gender discrimination going on in family court. And he has a history of calling up judges. So any judge that has touched my case, sure enough, you're going to get a phone call. So if you call Nicole Mundos and say, listen, I don't care what happens, I want you to dismiss this case because I got him for vexatious, just with 2 people, his ex and the attorney. And I want to shut him down because if he proves that his ex lied, he's going to prove that I lied too. That's why he issued the vexatious claim. If I sue my ex and find out she's hiding this money, and Michael Snipes signed the order to hide the money, it comes back on him. And that's why he ordered her to go into my house and destroy all the documents and sell everything else. But most of the documents are filed online. I just have to find it. And it's going to take a lot of work. Anyway, this is Serrano. This is so the next move is tomorrow morning. We're in bankruptcy court, telling the bankruptcy court that they violated the court order, the automatic stay to seize the house. Now, that's a whole different story because he's been saying, well, we abandoned the house here and the house is no longer part of this property. I mean, this bankruptcy, so they can do whatever they want with it. I said, nope, no contraire, because you're the one who told me file an adversary complaint. And the adversary complaint says if they violated the bankruptcy stay to take that house, then that bankruptcy stay voids them taking the house. That's what tomorrow is about. So let's see what happens. This is Serrano. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Don't forget to share and like and subscribe and just keep us alive, because we're going after gender discrimination and I'm going after it big time. If you want to join up, let me know. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.